Spice Girls.
Have you thought any more about the job?
Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips!
It's time to break down another Better Call Saul episode in order. I've got 43 details you may not know in Season 5, Episode 7.
JMM.
If I have the urge to not tell you something, then I've got to tell you.
Right, full disclosure.
Then it works both ways.
Works both ways.
We're witnessing a negotiation for their business transaction.
Maybe we get married?
These shots that evoke imprisonment were filmed at the end of the season in the parking lot outside the studio. They're sitting on wooden boxes, and that's only half a table.
What if you don't like what you hear?
I just want to know what's going on.
If we're gonna do this, no more secrets.
They had to dub over most of this dialogue later because a giant exhaust vent for the entire courthouse was 12 feet away.
There he is.
Bob and Ray couldn't even hear each other at normal speaking volume.
Am I late?
Nope.
Cool.
Thanks for coming.
And for putting on your big boy pants.
He's gonna have to put on his big boy pants.
Huell instantly scooted away from the wall.
Want me to hold the rings for you?
Oh, there's no rings.
I can fix that easy. The clerk downstairs had a nice ride.
This is a different kind of thing.
Then we should do it upright then for the rug right.
Yeah, there's no rugrat. This is a legal arrangement. That's all this is.
She gonna be a McGill or Goodman?
Wexler. I gotta go finish this.
There's a good look at both of their birthdays, and Kim's address is consistent with her apartment, unlike some of the other times we've seen her address. Jimmy being 5'11" is consistent with what we saw when he was arrested, even though Bob's 5'9" in real life. But is he really 6 inches taller than Kim? Based on this upcoming shot, I would say so, given she's wearing high heels. But I think there's some chicanery going on here, because later we see them look like the same height with the same shoes on. Jimmy's license was issued right before Uno, and will be good until just beyond when Ed gives him a new one in Granite State.
Sir, do you have documentation of your 2 previous dissolutions?
Kim's about to be his third wife. This lines up with Saul's stories from Breaking Bad.
I caught my second wife screwing my stepdad.
Although one was in a deleted scene.
3 marriages. You think I haven't been here?
There was also this important story.
He might have slept with my wife before she became my ex-wife.
There's a lot of ambiguity here, although a closer look at the props that were later auctioned off gives us some juicy info. His first wife was Dawn Marie D'Angelo, and they were married for less than 2 years in the early 80s, a little before we saw Kim in the flashback. His second wife was Lisa Ann Dubinsky. They got married in Florida in 1985, and apparently they were married for 10 years, even though the Chicago sunroof and his move to Albuquerque happened 3 years before the divorce. This also means that Lisa was the one who cheated with Chet, and maybe that means Chet was Jimmy's stepdad. Now, this isn't exactly canon, as the props have a lot of inconsistencies. This poster is from at least 13 years in the future, as the stock photo was taken in 2017.
Is this okay with you? This might not be what you dreamed of when you were 12.
It's not about that. This is just everything we talked about.
Just making sure.
All set. I just need $25.
I got it.
We're now officially in May. The Friends series finale will air this evening, so maybe watching that can be their honeymoon.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Been that kind of day. So, Wexler McGill?
Yes.
And you have your witnesses.
She seems to be a random person who was there since they weren't waiting for her to arrive earlier. Peter Gould doesn't like seeing the same courtroom over and over, so here they made a familiar one look different and smaller by putting up some fake walls.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh.
They're both so used to standing in front of a judge that they don't even think to look at each other.
Do you, James Morgan McGill, take Kimberly Wexler? No middle name.
That, along with details like her inconsistent addresses, led many to conspiracy theories. But there's a simple explanation. Writer Allison Tatlock has no middle name, so that's why she chose that for Kim.
To be your lawfully wedded wife.
I do.
And do you, Kimberly Wexler, take James Morgan McGill to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Okay, I do.
Do you have the rings?
We didn't do that.
Okie dokie. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss.
That wasn't in the script, although the director asked him to do it. It's a good thing Huell's camera was never in focus because it has a 2006 Kodak logo on it.
So lunch is definitely out?
Sorry, I just can't get away.
Not even a honeymoon lunch.
But I'll be home early tonight.
Me too. Saul Goodman, speedy justice for you.
Go to lockup. Client's waiting.
Who got picked up this time?
Jorge de Guzman.
Who the hell is Jorge de Guzman?
Who do you think?
It's an interesting choice of name, as Guzman is a lot like Goodman. Now they're using the courtroom from Uno. That stain on the ceiling was there in real life, even though it's new since season 1.
Murder in the first degree. Robbery while armed with a deadly weapon. Arson.
Your Honor, my client waives the reading of the remaining charges.
How does he plead?
Not guilty.
I'm going to deny bond.
Your Honor.
That's my decision. Cowboy.
Tom Schnauz is credited as the director of this commercial from the 60s. He might have directed it from the womb.
We wanted to tell you face to face how much everyone in the firm regrets what happened yesterday.
We finally get to see Kevin's office. It's bizarre that his corner office and apparently the whole floor has frosted windows rather than a view. But the reason is that while this was filmed in a real bank, it was at night. They lined all the windows with paper and that's artificial light behind them. I'm sorry you won't be able to unsee that.
You chose me as your attorney. That was the best day of my professional life. Boom, boom. Just like that. Yesterday was the worst day of my professional life.
Yesterday morning was the worst professional humiliation of my life.
I can't tell you how much I regret that I let you down.
Kevin graduated from Texas A&M. That's Rex's real-life mom, and that's his real-life dog.
If you choose to move forward with me, nothing like that will ever happen again. Never again. It'll never happen again.
Let's keep in mind that over the last 18 months, we've opened 24 new branches.
24?
Kim, you dropped the ball, that's for sure. I expected more.
Thanks for coming in.
One more thing. This fella, McGill or Goodman, whatever, you could do a whole lot better.
And that's how you push Kim's buttons.
It is personal!
Kevin's taking on that dad role and giving fatherly advice to someone who doesn't want to hear it.
Rich, we can't leave it like this.
Oh, he'll stew for a bit.
And if he does stick with us, we walk on eggshells forever?
What's our alternative? What?
After the survey.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you mind if we take just another minute of your time?
I guess
not would make more sense here, but either way. This is Melissa Bernstein's directorial debut, although she has also been a producer going all the way back to the Breaking Bad pilot, where she also appeared here and here.
No matter what our relationship looks like moving forward, we owe you the truth.
That's a nice fake out, as you might think she's about to tell the whole truth.
You ignored our advice.
So this is my fault.
We said Mesa Verde should reconsider the site for the call center. You declined. We advised you to keep the purchase lot as an investment. You declined. We advised you to leave that meeting when it became apparent that the other side was negotiating in bad faith. You declined.
And when she told you not to say anything about the photo, you couldn't help yourself.
Kevin, say nothing.
Cowboy.
Kevin, I'm strongly advised.
Cowboy.
Kevin, at every point, we gave you the best guidance we could. And at every point, you chose to go your own way. If you continue to ignore us, then this is the wrong relationship.
She's right, although only because she was orchestrating the sabotage.
That it? All right then. See you on Thursday.
I just come in and do that little song and dance and I'm in.
Okay.
If we know one thing about Kevin...
Cowboy.
Sorry, if we know two things about Kevin...
If there's one thing I cannot abide, it's a man who won't own up to his mistakes.
So this fits his character.
Well, I guess we'll get out of your hair.
This isn't the first time someone said this to Kevin, despite his lack of hair.
Well, I'll get out of your hair.
Here's the same set again, and this time the lighting is what makes it look different.
JMM. What's that?
Oh, that's my motto.
He's hiding his real name, but Tuco and Nacho already know it, unless they forgot.
I'm James Morgan McGill. I'm a lawyer.
Justice matters most. Brass tacks. How solid is this de Guzman thing? Because if they find out you're not who they think you are, that could be a little...
It's not going to be a problem.
Great. Now, I think that the DA is primed to cut a deal.
A deal?
We don't want a deal.
Oh, what did you have in mind?
You're going to get me out on bail.
Bail. That's a long shot.
¿Quieres ir amigo del cartel?
I'm sorry, I don't,
You want to be a friend of the cartel?
As the script points out, Saul used this line in his first episode.
Siempre soy amigo! Siempre soy amigo del cartel!
Lalo's once again responsible for something in Breaking Bad.
Mucho loco, this guy, huh?
Time to get yourself a new motto. Just make money.
Aw, they're back together.
Is my flower in danger of speedy disappearance?
Mike's reading the Little Prince book he bought from the library, continuing the inside joke about his nickname for Tom Schnauz. This bear is meant to be a nod to Mike Bearmantrout, who was a bit of a mascot for some of the creators and would join them for podcasts.
Okay, kid. We'll finish the rest later.
But Mike, I bet you could finish that in 5 more minutes. Also, the part he was just reading is less than halfway through the book, so I think he's pulling a fast one on her.
Not yet,
She's out.
The clock on Stacy's microwave is off, probably to prevent people like me from checking it.
This girl at work, she can't get her son to sleep.
Maddie was like that.
I love those pictures of him sitting on Santa's lap.
My boy.
God damn you!
I'm better now.
You sure about that?
What changed?
Decided to play the cards I was dealt.
There's the belated explanation. He's already in too deep.
God damn!
Just decided he'll see us at the regular Thursday meeting.
You spoke truth to power.
Sort of.
How'd your day go?
I got married.
These close-up shots were filmed in a different room of the apartment set.
And then it's go time for sex.
Having the urge not to tell you something.
Jimmy, wait. What?
I have a new client. He's a cartel guy. He said I'd be a friend of the cartel. Means money. Ranch in Montana kind of money. Private jet kind of money. Press conferences, TV news, the works.
Do you want to be a friend of the cartel?
No. Anyway, it's a moot point, because no judge on earth is going to grant him bail. I didn't want to tell you, so I thought I should tell you. If I have the urge to not tell you something, then I've got to tell you.
Right, full disclosure. I'm glad you did.
The director and writer said the true intimacy in this scene is Jimmy telling her the truth. Her turn-on is him confiding in her.
Go time for sex.
All of a sudden, there's an outbreak of two knocks. They used a motorized arm to scoot the phone under the door.
So what's happening with 6th Street?
They've got a big territory.
Problem on 5th Street.
A couple of scales on 4th been complaining that the stuff is stepped on.
Got something for you to do.
Hey, what are we doing way the hell out here? They close the mall or something?
The crew chose this location because it's close to the courthouse. The tires were already there.
I'm not telling you shit until we talk about my dad.
Not up to you.
Listen, you said when Lalo's out of the picture, we'll talk about my father, right? Well, he's out of the picture.
Say a piece.
I'm done. I want out.
Nacho.
When you're in, you're in. I disappear, they're gonna go after my father. But no matter what I say with him, it's the cops or nothing.
The cops won't solve this.
You think he doesn't know that?
What are you holding out?
Lalo called me from inside.
And?
And?
He wants me to burn down the Pollos Hermanos.
Then he's not out of the picture, is he?
The Avocado Mania promotion, which we've been testing in select franchises, has been a smashing success.
We saw many of these restaurant brands in Breaking Bad owned by Madrigal. Luftwaffe is a play on the name of the German Air Force.
We know a good thing when we see it, so we are planning to fully roll out Avocado Mania in Q2. Additionally, our innovative family fun remodel improved the in-store Whisker Stays experience.
We also saw Whisker Stays in the Gene timeline. Burgermatic is from the first script Vince ever wrote for a film class at NYU. And it turned into a major movie with Burgermatic playing a central role.
Welcome to Burgermatic. Can I take your order, please?
There are 4 we've never seen before, and the only one we can clearly see is Stingin' Ray's Hawaiian Barbecue. I think this one says Nicholas Fine Greek Cuisine, but thanks to script coordinator Kathleen Williams-Foshi, I know that this one is Oodles of Noodles. She came up with Oodles and kept trying to get it on screen for previous brands such as Chuck's Soy Milk, but it was too silly to ever feature prominently.
In fact,
lives rent-free in my head.
The latest ACSI survey places Whisker Stays in the top 10% nationwide.
Very nice, Cleo, very nice.
There's Peter Schuler, who had a brief but memorable appearance in Breaking Bad. They put his wedding ring on his right hand, matching where it ended up in Breaking Bad. But recall that his ring switched from his left to right hand because after filming already started, their German advisor said that Germans don't wear wedding rings on their left hands. Many Germans have since told me this is wrong. They do. But from what I can tell, this is a generational thing and the custom shifted over time. So maybe for someone Peter's age, the right hand is an okay choice.
Let's hear from Gustavo Fring.
This is our first time hearing Peter speak English.
We are very proud to introduce our delicious Spice Girls.
He had introduced normal curly fries about 2 years prior.
Come in and try our new curly fries.
And I guess they've also been a
smashing success.
The curly fry with the southwestern kick.
This was the first thing they shot for the episode, followed by the hotel scene next because they only had a day and a half with Norbert, even though he does live in the US. It shouldn't be a surprise that the parking lot is filled with cars from the future. Here are 11 that Thick Wheezy identified from the late 2000s or 2010s. I'm a bit obsessed with the Madrigal Restaurant brands, and if they existed, I would travel to Albuquerque to eat at them all. In real life, though, my food travels to me thanks to this video's sponsor, Factor. Factor delivers chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals straight to your door so you can eat well this summer without spending all your time in the kitchen.
In fact,
97% of people say Factor helps them live a healthier life, and 92% say it makes their life less stressful. No planning, no prep, no cleanup. Factor's ready-to-eat meals take all the effort out of eating well, and Factor has helped me make the most of my summer by freeing up more time to work on these YouTube videos. Factor doubled the size of its menu with double the seafood and protein options. My favorite continues to be the ginger teriyaki salmon, so that's what's for lunch today. I've been a customer for years before becoming a YouTuber because of the combination of convenience, quality, and taste. They really are delicious. There's no refined seed oils, no refined sugars, just real food from Factor. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code BetterWatchTV FB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code BetterWatchTV FB50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Here we are.
This is a fake wall and entry door hiding a Kiva fireplace because that would make it obvious they were in New Mexico rather than Houston.
The bathroom has heated floors.
The reaction he's hoping for.
This has got to be the most amazing invention ever.
Versus the reaction he gets.
It is acceptable.
Many of our guests have enjoyed the rodeo. It's in town tomorrow at Reliance Stadium.
That was indeed the name of NRG Stadium back in 2004.
In fact,
they're changing it back to that right now for the 2026 NFL season.
Thank you, Mr. Frank.
The room has Madrigal wine, which is real. Notice they covered the year. They're on to us. This was filmed at the Sandia Resort and Casino. They are in a real hotel suite, although this is not a real closet. And this is not a real double door. It's a fake one behind the real one. Of course, Gus chooses the correct knock. Laura flew in from Scotland to do this one scene.
Peter, look who's here.
Hello, my friend.
Writer Allison said they're implying there's an intimate, complicated history between these three, and there's supposed to be a little bit of spiciness to it. Are you getting that from this scene?
I'm not.
Lydia tells me Salamanca is in jail. This means you can continue construction?
Eduardo Salamanca has been arrested for murder. However, even from jail, he creates issues. He ordered his men to burn down one of my restaurants.
I know it's not exactly my area of expertise, but don't people get killed in prison all the time? Shanked and shipped and whatnot.
No shanking!
Anything happens to Salamanca on this side of the border, the cartel will assume that it was my doing. It would mean war.
So the next step is to get Lalo out of jail so he can leave the country.
This nightmare never ends.
He's concerned about the money.
It's a miracle I haven't been caught. The auditors came this close.
One thing I know about Germans is they love a good audit.
They will catch me, and then it is over.
Peter.
I can't.
Listen to me. Do you remember Santiago?
Como lo que pasó en Santiago, eso también era negocio.
He's wearing a Ripley Plaza robe, and there is a Ripley Plaza in Santiago.
The two of us, our backs to the wall. I will never forget what you did. You are still the same man.
Add this to the list of Gus manipulating people by understanding what makes them tick.
We are so very close. Stay strong, my friend.
As long as Gus is around, you have nothing to worry about, Peter.
Tomorrow, you and I are going to the rodeo.
The rodeo?
To see the cowboys.
Cowboy.
Gustavo?
Saul Goodman, speedy justice for you.
I need a word.
Yeah, I have a word for you. Tunnel, which is where I am right now.
I'm in a tunnel.
Maybe try again later. Whatever it is,
It's just
it's
not for me.
and it should be for
And
you.
I don't think it should be for you either.
Forget your key. Oh, okay. Yeah, come right in. Got me in my underwear, so enjoy the show.
Peter Gould got the sock garter idea because his grandfather used to wear them.
Eduardo Salamanca, a.k.a. Jorge de Guzman. I need you to get him out on bail.
What do you have to do with Lalo Salamanca?
I represent someone who has an interest.
I don't take marching orders from the man behind the curtain.
It's better that you do.
You know what Salamanca did, right?
I am aware. This is everything you need to do your job.
What the heck happened to Fred's license? It's completely different from before. The date of birth now matches what the other paperwork listed, but his address, license number, issue, and expiration dates have all changed. Here we can see it's the Las Lunas Pollos, not the one we normally see. Perhaps Gus chose his least favorite one. This Pollos is serving generic brands unlike the Albuquerque one. It's doubtful that these 3 lines of cola blue and red liquid would be running to the machine, but it is a nice metaphor for the law-abiding and criminal sides of the business. In real life, it was and still is an empty abandoned building, so there was a lot of set decoration to do before these two destroyed it. A long time ago it was a Blake's Lotta Burger, but then it was a bakery after that. That's a frozen chicken despite the fact that
Our product is never frozen.
But Gus wasn't lying. The intention was that he planned this in advance and set this one aside in the freezer. He can't help but check that the fryer is clean. I'd love for Lalo to come in and critique his form. The singer of the montage song had a different song used in The Big Lebowski, so this was another potential time the movie inspired the creators.
Gus Fring is dead.
What the hell are you doing here?
You can call me Lalo.
Just kidding. This shot uses visual effects to remove the fishing line that pulled the chicken down the tray. But this shot is all real. They only had one shot at it and Giancarlo didn't flinch.
3, 2, 1, bang! And pull out.
Did you actually think I wasn't going to hear about this private eye of yours?
Excuse me?
Dave Clark, the mysterious third party who's coaching your key witness.
Any idea what that asshole is going on about?
I'll call the librarian.
Try not to be too cool. You're a cool guy, okay, but not too cool. I need you to be relatable.
Is that them?
Yep.
Who's that?
It's gotta be his family. Fred Whalen. The guy who died at the travel wire.
He's still got a soul, although Lalo doesn't.
Mr. Goodman.
That's right, Your Honor.
This sudden cut is really interesting because it's like we went from Jimmy to Saul, almost as if he entered a
fugue state.
Although the court reporter is typing, some people believe that Jimmy's hearing Chuck typing here. Melissa Bernstein said this is a substantial moment in the arc of his character because he's bottoming out morality-wise.
Witness tampering. The prosecution's key witness was coached by a private investigator who was hired to pervert justice.
I only want justice.
Does the prosecution have a response?
The person unknown to my team may have interacted with our witness 2 months after the initial interview.
That's not right. It was just over 1 month.
This only recently came to our attention, and we are vigorously investigating.
I would hope so.
In light of the extraordinary violence of the crime and the fact that Mr. de Guzman is a foreign national with no ties to the community, we ask that the court recognize him as a flight risk and as a danger to the citizens of New Mexico.
Mr. Goodman?
She's the only witness tying Mr. de Guzman to the murder scene, and she's been manipulated. Furthermore, Mr. de Guzman has deep ties to the city of Albuquerque. I'd like you to meet his fiancée, Beth McKinnon, his stepchildren, Christopher and Ella, and Beth's mother, Mary. How can you possibly see fit to separate this beautiful family?
I accept the defense's argument that bond is warranted.
This clock never moves despite all the time that passes.
But I will set the amount at $7 million, cash only.
Oh, Your Honor.
All rise.
I am so sorry.
I can do that. I'm gonna need you to pick it up.
What, me?
I'll call you.
Wow, what a jam-packed episode. Oh wait, there's one more thing. Peter said they considered ending the episode here, but they thought it was important to see how this experience affects Jimmy.
Are you paying attention to me, ex-Special Agent Starling?
Hey, Jimmy.
Howard.
Have you thought any more about the job?
I have a hell of a lot more on my mind right now than thinking about
the job. Still giving it some thought.
You know what? Don't bother. It seems I've upset you. So, offer's off the table.
How'd you upset me?
You tell me.
This is getting a little weird, Howard.
You want to know what's weird? It's weird to offer a job to a man and in return have bowling balls thrown at your car and prostitutes sent to your business lunch. That's weird.
I don't know what you're into these days, Howard, but you sound unhinged.
This is not what
unhinged
looks like.
Jimmy's about to show us unhinged.
Jimmy, I'm sorry you're in pain.
Jimmy knows Howard's right, which triggers his Saul reflex for protection.
You kill my brother, and you say you're sorry.
Jimmy's trying to get under Howard's skin here. He tries to weaponize Chuck's death, but Howard has done so much work on himself it doesn't work, which adds fuel to the fire.
It didn't upset me. It amused me. Big job at the illustrious HHHHHM. Chance to play at the palace. Little old me. You have no idea what's going on. You're a teensy tiny man in a teensy weensy little bubble.
Oh, Jimmy.
Oh, don't you fucking owe Jimmy me.
This was an unscripted F word, and they did another take without it just in case. I don't think Jimmy's intentionally making a colorful reference here, but it is like...
Don't fucking Jimmy me, Jules!
This is also like this moment from Walt after finding out that Gretchen pitied him.
I feel so sorry for you, Walt.
Fuck you.
You look down on me, you pity me. Walk away. That's right, Howard. You know why I didn't take the job? Because it's too small.
Peter Gould explicitly compared this to Walt's famous speech.
I am the danger.
Calling both moments pathetic for the main character. In his words, Walt was the one cornered by Gus, and he's a little man with big talk.
I am
the one who knocks.
Here, Jimmy jumps and stands on his tiptoes to appear larger to match his talk.
I don't care about it. It's nothing to me. It's a bacterium. I travel in worlds you can't even imagine. You can't conceive of what I'm capable of.
Like with Walt, he's obviously lying because he's not the mastermind of this legal strategy. He's just Mike's puppet.
I'm so far beyond you. I'm like a god in human clothing.
God, hey.
Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips.
We've seen that all the way back in the first episode. It's also an interesting choice of power since it would make him Chuck's worst enemy. Actually, he was Chuck's worst enemy, and his brand of electricity is really what made Chuck sick rather than literal electricity. His antics aren't that different from the first time we saw them together, although Jimmy was being playful back then.
And I won't have it!
Jimmy also kind of looks like Inflatable Guy.
Lightning bolts shoot from
my brain!
Lightning bolts shoot from
my mind!
Lightning bolts shoot from
my groin!
Here, the embarrassment and regret is a bit more obvious than in Walt's case. Congratulations and thanks to the new 2-year members. Michael, Trisha Off Perks, Alex Scott 20, Beppy, FaZe, Pablo, Radar, Rayzoon, Mistset, and Summer Woods. And here are the new 1-year members. King Lamar, Keegan Janney, Star Caden, Jack Purdue, Gmod Person 1, Paul B, Brady Neal, Atlas, Koya Haramio, Jod Clemson, Lunar Girls, Mike Barcode, Poop Buster, Dune Monkey 32, Rogan Geyer, Maxer's Default, Jason Abadi, Joseph Smith, Silenced Archive, Hoop Scoop FR, Aaron Dixon, Airport X-Ray Simulator, Zalient, Akartis, Triatharva, Tekwen, Kevin Martin, Anon Fluff, Tiny Patch, Houdini 99, That Hat, Tate Berkey, This Backpack, and Sam Harris. I'd like to fix my pronunciation of Samchick 33 and Nothosaur. And for almost the final time reading these out loud, here are the new 6-month members. Elysium, Bam, Ukaboy Vlog, Flip Wonderland, August Nugent, Lexus Your Queen, The Fat Lady, Alexandra Chinez, CeeLo, Petri Niars, Chris Abrams, Clover, Slick Nick, Ryder, Mason Medina, Purple Goon, Lewis Knight 21, Coda, Anna S, Duffman 18, Inez Prayer, Hagen, Kalexon, Dom Lohan, Someone You Might Know, Ollie Bali, Alex Harbaugh, Samus Gillespie, CogXV, Alvaro Tenorio, Sakura Yutori, Lampmania, Cocodrio, Samuel Melchi, Dominic Caponegro, Natanoms, Igly and Epsilon, Star 105XL, Dijij Vuxvub, Boingus Armand Lala, Dominic Corenthal, McThickums, Pontiff Sullivan, Call Me Luna, Friendo, Nerdy, Scotty B, Robert Wad, Lindbergh, Bill the Can 135, Chuckwa, Lance West, Zen, The Cosmic Spider, Somber Tunner, Isabel, Zeke Pepperboy, Is Crinny, Barrett 1, Volsguy 404, Federico Russo, Orion, Cross Rhombus, DG 173, Blizz Gizzern, Couchfort, Vincent Kelly, Alice Peter, Sharkheart, BRB3, Mewash, Michael Peckinpal, Zeraphyros, Adhere Padilla, Oscar, Brian Macias as Tazafran, Althea Reyes, Biggie Barnes, Matt B. Davis, Hassan Moodin, Lost Lucas 9, Samu Del 2007, Ben Sansum, Typical Tally, and Sandra Wolozin. Next time, Saul becomes a bagman.
Love of his life, Beth McKinnon, stepchildren, Christopher and Ella. And that's sitting with them is very kind, Beth's mother. Well, it's very nice for her to be here. You had to take 2 Ubers, I'm told. Mary,